On today's episode, we talk OCR World Championships 2021 with your 3K and 15K World Champion, Lindsay Webster. Welcome to the OCR Report podcast, brought to you by the OCRReport.com. We are the only podcast to focus exclusively on the elite sport of obstacle course racing, from Spartan to Tough Mudder to the OCR World Championships, and wherever the elites are racing, we are there. My name is Will Hicks, and this is the OCR Report. Boom. Today on our show, Lindsay Webster. Lindsay won the 3K and the 15K World Championships last week. The women's 3K and 15K are usually not won. It's usually a split title. It's usually not won by the same person. Lindsay won them both this year, and it's only been done one other time on the women's side in 2016. The woman that won them both that year, Lindsay Webster. My name is Will Hicks. You are listening to the OCR Report podcast. Thank you for listening. You are too kind. Feel free to follow us on Instagram at the OCR Report. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and shoot me a text, 619-485-2726. Straight to my phone, 619-485-2726. I got a message last week wondering if that is really my phone number, and does it go to me? Is it mine? And do I respond to messages? Only one way to find out. 619-485-2726. I will tell you right now that I won't answer the phone if you call. Other than my wife, I might answer the phone once a day. Maybe twice on a busy day. 99% of phone calls could have been a text. Have you left a review for the show, for the OCR Report on Apple Podcasts? I doubt it. I see the download numbers and I see the review numbers, and they are not the same. Could you do me a kindness? We are heading into the holiday season. All I want for Christmas is a review of the OCR Report on Apple Podcasts. I'm not asking for like an iPad. I saw the new iPhones around. I don't need an Oculus. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. I would appreciate it. Hit that purple podcast button on your iPhone or iPad. If you are not an Apple guy, gal, go to lovethepodcast.com/OCR. You can leave a review there, and it will help the show. And I will read it on a future episode. Let's talk some news. We are going to talk with your 2021 OCR World Champ, Lindsay Webster, in a minute. But first, how about those OCR World Championships? Adrian Bijanata and his team deserve all the credit in the world for pulling off a World Championship race this year, 2021, in less than ideal travel conditions. Many of the top athletes were not able to make the trip from the U.S. to the U.S. from overseas. The biggest one, the biggest name, the biggest guy that we missed was John Albon. John is the men's 3K and 15K defending champion. He's won the race multiple times. Like when Adrian holds the race, he actually has to pay a licensing fee to John Albon because John Albon owns that race. I've used that joke for Ryan Atkins and World's Toughest Mudder, and it applies equally. But even though Albon couldn't make it there, and even though some big names could not make it there, Ryan Kempson showed up and he won the 15K, and VJ Jones showed up and he won the 3K, and they are world champ. They beat everyone else that was there on the course that day, and they are the world champions. Now they have to defend that. Kempson and Jones, Lindsay Webster also, but every single race they run for the next 12 months, Savage or Spartan or Rugged Maniac, whatever, they are the reigning world champions, and they have to defend their title. And 12 months from now, when we all go back to Stratton for the 2022 World Championships, Albin is going to be there, and Atkins is going to be there, and so will Ryan Kempson, and so will be VJ Jones, and it is going to be amazing. I cannot wait for OCRWC 2022. If you want to watch any of the races, 3K, 15K, 100-meter team race from OCRWC 2021, go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/the OCR Report. I want to give a special shout out to our live coverage, our live video team. Jason Dupree did an outstanding job of putting together his team to cover the race weekend. Not only was Jason supervising the crew, he was producing and directing the race coverage. He was commentating. He was the pre-game, pre-race, and post-race shows. Jason, well done. If you are not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, you should be. youtube.com/the OCR Report. In fact, pause it right now. Go subscribe. Pop over in a different app. youtube.com/the OCR Report. Subscribe and then come back. I'll wait for you. Did you subscribe? youtube.com/the OCR Report. I can tell. I never know how long to let that hold music go because it just keeps getting funnier to me. And I don't know if it's funny to you or not, but that one's for me. Also, thank you to our crew. We had great rabbits on the course. The rabbits are the guys with the cameras and the girls chasing the action or stationed at an obstacle, waiting for the athletes to come to them. Our rabbits were Aaron Colleran, Dylan Scott, Miles Keller, Mark Duplessis, and Jamie Rich. Well done, you guys. Our commentary team at OCRWC, Kevin Donahue, Miles Keller, Jason Rich, and Mike Stefano. And guests in the booth, world champion VJ Jones. We had VJ's support team, and Tony Badaglia. Well done, team. You did outstanding. I cannot wait for the 2022 live race coverage, both of OCRWC and everything else we have planned for next year. But seriously, subscribe now. youtube.com/the OCR Report. Let's talk race results for OCRWC 2021. In the 3K, your men's podium, in first place was VJ Jones in 17:24. In second place was Ryan Kempson in 17:52. And in third place was Igor Bolosov from Russia in 18:01. VJ Jones and Ryan Kempson are both from the United States. For the women's 3K, in first place was Lindsay Webster from Canada in 20:51. In second place was Ida Steensgaard from Denmark in 21:45. And in third place was Rose Wetzel in 22:02 from the United States. In the 15K for the men, in first place was Ryan Kempson from the U.S. in 1:35.27. Second place was Igor Bolosov from Russia in 1:35.58. And in third place from the U.S., Logan Broadbent in 1:36.19. For the women, in the 15K from Canada, Lindsay Webster in 1:56.07. In second place, Ida Steensgaard in 1:58.41. Ida from Denmark. And in third place from the U.S., Chris Rogloski in 2 hours and 3 seconds. Let's talk team results. For the men, there are 3 men's categories. For the men's team, first place, Team Salming USA in 52.25. In second place from the U.S., Team Indian Mud Run Pro Team in 55.26. And in third place from the U.S., Team Fit Zone OCR in 55.31. That first place team, Team Salming, is VJ Jones, Ian Hosick, and Logan Broadbent. The women's team. In first place from the U.S., Team Chris plus TBD in 101.59. In second place from the U.S., Team Golden Girls in 103.37. And in third place from the U.S., Team Grip It and Rip It in 116.28. And your co-ed team, your mixed team, in first place, Team Noob Sanity in 52.28. In second place from Denmark, first Team Insanity is from the U.S., Noob Sanity from the U.S. In second place, Team Innovate from Denmark in 54.09. And in third place from the U.S., Team Name TBD in 57.57. That co-ed team first place is Jarrett Newby, Ryan Brizolara, and Jareen Klingberg. Something I did not tell you was the first place women's team, their names. Team Chris plus TBD. The first place women's team is Chris Rogloski, Hannah Holmes, and Rose Wetzel. Congratulations to all of our podium winners and everyone who ran the OCR World Championships. Getting my money's worth out of that swoop button, huh? Enough of the swoop button. Let's read some iTunes reviews.
5 stars.
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 Love that laugh from Ray Kobla at the end. We already covered this at the top, guys. I need some iTunes reviews. Let's go. I did get this nice note from Catherine Harris from the UK, though. Hi, Will. Just wanted to let you know that I love both your podcasts. 5 stars. I've recently discovered OCR and the community and have found my happy place. I don't come from a sporting background at all, but having taken place in one 10-kilometer Spartan trail race in the UK, I've already signed up for more with the aim to start over obstacles next year. And my aim is to go to Hawaii to compete in the next year or two, and a family holiday, of course. I really just wanted to say thank you for doing these podcasts, as I have found they have been amazing to have chatting away in my ear during my early morning runs and workouts. I love hearing the results and how the elites are doing. Granted, I haven't long started World's Toughest Podcast, so I have a decent back catalog to get through, LOL, and also any industry news. It's been like having a training buddy, chatting away and keeping my mind occupied. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you, Catherine Harris. It's very kind words. I like to listen to audiobooks and podcasts when I run. I like to listen to music when I drive and talking when I run. I don't know why that is. And so I get it. Like, it's nice to have, someone chatting in your ear while you're doing your thing, working out. And I am honored to occupy that space, Catherine. You are too kind. I love hearing from our UK listeners. Second biggest audience after the US. Catherine, if you can leave that same review or the same note in a review on Apple Podcasts, I'll read it again next week. Not really. I will. No, I'm joking. I'm not joking. If you are from outside the US, listen up. You US listeners, Americans, you can listen too. I'm right there with you. But really, outside the US, I would love to get a review from Germany, from Norway, from Australia, and from the UK this week. Germany, Norway, Australia, and England / the rest of the UK. Now, UK listeners, do not send me email. I know the difference between England and the UK. I watched Ted Lasso, okay? I know how many countries are in your country. It's 4. You have 4 countries in your country. To leave that review, tap the purple podcast button Search for the OCR report, click our logo, and then scroll down to click write a review. I will read it on a future episode. Or lovethepodcast.com/OCR. All right, enough from me. Lindsay Webster is a 10-time world champion, including winning the OCR World Championship 15K race 5 of the 7 times it has been held. She has won the Spartan US National Series every single year since its inception in 2016, including this year. And she is your 2021 3K and 15K OCR World Champion. It's time to talk with Lindsay Webster. Let's go to the phones. Lindsay Webster, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a little while.
Lindsay, you are the new and reigning OCR World Champion. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a bit different this year. I missed a lot of hearing a lot of the different accents around the venue area and hearing like different languages everywhere you turn. But, it is what it is. Hopefully next year will be a little bit more normal.
Yeah, tell me about it. This year, because of COVID, there were a lot of people that could not make the trip from overseas or even other countries, just Mexico, Canada. You guys were able to get down there, or you were able to get down there. What was the experience like in 2021?
I was grateful that Ida Matilda was able to make it because she's like one of the top women who would have been one of the main competitors. So it was nice. I think she had to fly to Canada and quarantine and then come to the US. But Ryan, my husband Ryan, was like, oh, if John Albin's not going to be there, then like it feels a bit like a cop out to go this year because like John's, won it every single year that he's done it. And Ryan was like, if I go and I win it, it just won't really feel like a real competition. So, and then on the women's side too, like we're missing Nicole this year and because she's injured. So yeah, it's a strange year, but still I'm grateful to have gone, and I had to choose between that one and North American champs, but OCR Worlds, I love the challenge and it inspired me to train hard because I haven't had that much of a grip strength challenge all year yet. So yeah, so I picked the harder one.
Is this the first time you and Ryan have raced at totally separate locations on the same weekend?
I think it's happened once before, or at least for sure it's happened where like he's gone to a race and I've stayed home or vice versa. But yeah, it felt really strange. Like getting ready in the hotel room and stuff, I was kind of just like, oh, it feels like I'm preparing for like a hard workout and I'm just going alone. So that wasn't too strange. But when I was running into like the finish line, he's always there cheering me in for like the last kilometer or so. And I was like, where is he? So that was the weirdest part.
Ryan won his race in Tahoe. You won both your big races in Vermont. What was it like after the race? Did you guys call each other? Did you get on FaceTime? How'd you connect?
Well, because of the time change. So I actually finished my race and his time zone was 3 hours behind. So I basically finished my race and went back to my room and like showered and then was obsessively clicking refresh on my Instagram, trying to get updates from the Spartan race because they were still out racing at the time. And for whatever reason, I thought that they had a live stream. So I was like all excited because I was like, I'm going to go back and watch his race. And then I realized that they don't actually release the footage on YouTube until like the next day. So then I was just like, anybody who was out there who was putting out, information on and updates on what was happening with the Tahoe race, I was just like clicking refresh. So yeah, it was good fun.
Let's talk about your race. You won the 3K and the 15K World Championships. Let's talk about the 3K first. How was your race, that 3K, that short race?
Yeah, it was like my legs felt a little bricky because I actually I think it ended up being like 14 hours travel or something the day before, which I'm sure a lot of people experienced. There's a lot of people who flew in right before, but it never leaves you feeling great on race day. And Rose Wetzel was like really super strong and fit this year, which was really fun. So her and I were racing up the first climb together. And I think she must have been practicing our downhills because she was flying on the downhill. I thought maybe I would have had an advantage there and could have put some time into her, but she stayed with me. and she ended up taking a really hard fall. She takes a beating during these races. I'm like, gosh, Rose, you're so hardcore. But yeah, she fell really hard, like basically rolled out of it and got up and kept running. And then we came into this obstacle gauntlet at the bottom, pretty much still neck and neck. And that was when I started putting a bit of time into her. I think she just like made a few little mess ups and stuff and had to like redo a few obstacles. And yeah, anyway, so it was it was a challenge. It was a fight right up till the end.
Rose has had a good year. She had her baby a couple years ago and then kind of coming back, but she's had a strong year this year.
Yeah, she has. Yeah, she's been putting in the work, that's for sure. And she said earlier this year, like I think she's put a big focus on actually like mountain running, because before she was seen as more of a track athlete. They're like good on the fast, flat, shorter courses. But she's put in the work, and she said earlier to me this year, like, this is the first year I think I can actually call myself like a mountain running athlete. And you can see it, like some of the beast races that she's been on the podium this year. And yeah, she's got endurance now. She's got the technical skills. So yeah, it's really cool to see when people like put in the work and it comes together.
You won the
results.
You won the 3K on Friday. You raced again the 15K on Saturday. What does it feel like getting up in the morning on Saturday morning after running a hard race Friday, and you have to compete again on Saturday for another World Championship race?
Normally it's like, well, I don't know. I think it depends year to year. It depends on the course. This one was tough because Rose like pushed me so hard on that descent. I woke up in the morning and my feet were really stiff from just like all the muscles in my feet from the technical descent. And I ended up having, and my glutes were really sore, because that's like the one muscle that you'll really feel if you're like running fast on downhills. And I think I'm pretty fit and used to them, but it's been a while since I've run a downhill that fast. It literally was as fast as I could go. So I ended up having to do this whole like mobility session when I woke up in the morning. And then when I was warming up for the 15K, hold on. My alarm's telling me call with Will Hicks. I was warming up for the 15K and my right glute was cramping. And I was like, oh no, the race hasn't even started yet. But luckily a long warm up kind of resolved the issue. And it didn't really bother me during the race.
What does a World Championship warm up look like? How much time are you spending before the race to stretch out, to get loose before the race?
So actually the longer the race, the shorter the warm up I'll probably do. But it's for like the 3K and stuff that you really want to make sure that you're warmed up and like properly sweaty on the start line. Because as soon as that gun goes, you have to be ready to like move with everything you have. So for the 3K, I think I like jogged around for about 30 minutes. And then towards the end of it, I'll do some kind of like race paced sprints. I'll usually do like 4 times 1 minute or something like that. And then for the 15K, I think I jogged around for 20 minutes and did a couple of those at the end, which was a bit longer than normal. Normally I do like 15 minutes and then pickups and just like some stretches and stuff. Yeah. Sorry, I have allergies. So if I'm a little bit stuffy and sniffly.
No worries. So for the 3K, you're coming to the start line with like a full lather already worked up. Like you're sweating. You've been working out basically before the start line.
Yeah. That's and I actually learned that when I was pretty young through cross country skiing. My sister was a cross country ski athlete. And I used to come into races like, I'd ski around for like 5 minutes and then go to the start line. And she was the one that taught me that you'll feel actually a lot better if you come in, especially to a short race. Like in skiing, it would be like a 2K or a 5K, that you want to be like properly sweaty. And I started doing that and I was like, oh wow, I feel a lot better. You don't develop all this lactic acid. When if you start a sprint and the gun goes off and you're just like going from 0 to hero, then your legs will get really lactic-y, your heart rate will sometimes like red line. But if you come into it properly warmed up, then you'll feel a lot better. So it's kind of worth it.
So you don't want to go 0 to hero, but you can go from like stretched out and worked out to hero and you'll be okay.
Yeah. Tell
me about your 15K. How was your race?
I I started off feeling quite good. The first 5K, I actually had to retry a lot of obstacles. I think I'm just still a little rusty after last year. And I found Gibbons. Gibbons was one of the ones I kept having to retry. That's the one where like you put these wooden dowels into like kind of a V-shaped overhanging, I don't know what you would call it. It's like a rig, I guess. And you have to like transition your wooden dowels through this thing. Anyway, I do the chicken wing through it, but they were like really, I guess, sensitive this year. And these wooden dowels kept falling out of the little V's, like no matter how gentle I was trying to be and like trying not to knock them out and stuff, they just kept coming out. So I was there for a little while. Some obstacles I would do faster than Rose and some she would do faster. So we were like back and forth quite a bit for that first 5K. And then I think I started gradually pulling away. And then I kind of got my obstacles sorted out. And I don't know if it's just because I haven't run a race with mandatory obstacle completion like that. So I think like that fact that I haven't done one like that in a while combined with COVID last year and like less time spent in a gym, all that stuff. Like I think that first 5K I was just a bit flustered. And then after that I was like, yeah, you know what? I know what I'm doing. I remember how to do this. And then I kind of put it together a little bit better. But yeah, I was trying to conserve grip strength and just do things really efficiently through the whole race because I wasn't sure how my arms would hold up on the obstacles. And I'm glad I did actually because they were pretty tired towards the end. I think this year there was more like the rigs were easy, but there was a lot of them, like more than I've ever experienced in an OCRWC. Than any other year. So yeah, I'd say I felt okay the first time or first 10K and then the last 5K. I don't know why, but I was like, I hit this suffering pain cave. Like I really felt truly awful and pretty loopy. There was this final really steep climb and it just like went on forever. I think I was banking on it being about 20 minutes and then I hit the 30-minute mark and I was like, okay, we're still going. 35 minutes. Okay, we're still going. Yeah, it was a course this year, but that's what we come for.
You say it was a hard course this year?
Yeah.
How did the course this year compare to other? You've done the OCR World Championships multiple years. Was it the hardest? Was it in the middle?
I think course-wise, I would say it was the hardest, just like with the terrain and stuff like that. So I think there was 2 smaller climbs before that, and then like towards the end of the race when you're really kind of tired and feeling it, you hit this giant sustained really steep climb. The grass was long, that it had rained a whole bunch, so like the ground was really soft. So I'd hit these like flatter sections on the climb where normally I'd be able to run that grade, and I would run like 10 steps and I'd be like, oh, I'm really gassed, I have to start power hiking again. And it would feel so weird because I was like on a flat, but I was walking. And I was like, normally I'd be running this, but because the ground was just so squashy, it was kind of energy draining. So I'd say terrain wise, it was the hardest one. And then obstacle wise, yeah, like I mentioned, lots more like grip strength obstacles this year, but also really fun ones. Like a lot of the new obstacles are incorporating kind of body momentum. So they're a little bit more ninja-y and they're quite easy and doable, but just like really fun. And I had wished that obviously we don't get to try them beforehand, but I was like, oh, it'd be really cool like to do a race where we could have tried these beforehand to see like how we can really fly through them, because I think a couple of them were like, I was doing them conservatively because I don't want to fall off and have to try it again, and that cost me time. But if I tried them before and really knew how to like fly through it, it would have been fun to kind of like do it a little bit more ninja-esque and use some obstacle skills.
What do you think about the ninja OCR crossover? Joe Moravsky won the men's 100-meter race that weekend. There seems
Leon
to be
put up like an Instagram story of that. I think I watched it like 5 times in a row. I just kept like pressing refresh.
And there's a lot of Rose Wetzel has been on Ninja Warrior, and then Michelle Warnke, and there's a lot of not a lot, but I think there's more and more crossover between the super short OCR athletes and what we more would think of as traditional OCR, like the 5K, 15K plus, beast or super, whatever you want to call that distance. It seems like there's a lot. Some of their guys coming with us, and some of our guys trying over there. What do you think of that?
Yeah. I think it's awesome that OCR World's made like 100-meter course because, I don't know, a lot of different sports will have different, like with cross country skiing or mountain biking. Like there's like a short sprint race or a short track race, and then you have the longer one. And obviously, like these different disciplines, suit different people. And I think it's cool to like, just, I don't know, have these different events suit the different types of athletes. And then obviously with obstacle racing specifically, like to be able to do the obstacles fast, like that is a whole skill set in its own. And I think it's going to be really cool one day when the sport develops to a point, when like we see the 15K athletes doing obstacles like the Ninja Warriors do. You're starting to see it a bit in the men's field. Nicole became quite good at them during COVID. I think she was going to a ninja gym and like working on those skills. So when she came back this year for Hildervat, you could really see like a difference in her obstacle ability and proficiency to just like swing through them. So I don't know. I only think it's a good thing because it's going to like bring the whole sport to a whole new level. And it's going to challenge us.
Hey, before we wrap up, there was a rumor going around last weekend, and I don't know where it came from, but someone messaged me and they said, "Did you hear that Lindsay Webster is retiring?" And I was like, "Wait, what? She just won the World Championships." So I texted you. Can we just talk about that? Like, what are your? You've won multiple World Champion, like all of the World Championships. You've won the Spartan US National Series every year it's been run. What are your plans going forward?
Yeah, I think. I mean, obviously, I've seen a ton of success in obstacle racing. I still really love it. I worked professionally for 4 years before I started racing. And so it's cool to make the transition and be like a pro athlete for a while. But it's just, I'm 32 now. Like Ryan and I eventually want to have a family. But I think before that, like I'd like to solidify myself, I guess, a career again. So that I just, have something to go back to, I guess. Like once, I don't know, like obviously I'm the kind of person who I think once we like have a family one day, I don't want to go back to racing. I'd rather like focus on family, and I've done pretty much everything that I want to do in racing. And I feel like if I came back to it, I'd just put a lot of pressure on myself to perform to the level that I used to perform at, or I don't know, whatever. I'm like, I race now and I still really love it, but I'm like, I'm ready to, make a change, going back to like, normal people life, so to speak. So, no, I'm not pregnant. So many people asking that, and like nobody asking me directly, but the amount of comments I see and stuff on posts, like with the rumors that I'm retiring and stuff, everybody's like, oh, it's because she's pregnant. No, I'm not. I just, I don't know. I'm ready for something else. And I have a few things in mind that I've wanted to start up business-wise for like a few years now. So I might like spend the off season kind of like putting those into motion. And then depending on how it comes together, like I'll either race next year, just like I raced this year, or if I have a business to run, then that's going to become my main priority. And like I'll still come to races. Like I'm not like retiring entirely. I think I'd still love to do OCRWC, but it just won't be my main focus anymore. I won't be like a pro athlete, so to speak. I'll still train because, I love exercising and stuff, but it'll be interesting to see the difference in performance when I'm like not racing as a professional and just like kind of doing it as a somebody who still exercises a lot, but I'm doing it because I love it.
So it's fair to say maybe cutting back next year, but we might see it at some of the big races.
Yeah. And again, it depends how things play out business wise. Like if we come into next year and things are moving along really slowly, then I'll do the whole race circuit. We'll see.
Awesome. Lindsay, do you have any sponsors or anything you want to plug?
Sure. Just like big thank you to all my sponsors for all their support this year. Couldn't do it without them. And I only pick sponsors that I really love and feel will benefit my performance. So Human and Riverbend, Super Sapiens has been really cool to work with this year. They make glucose sensors, so it's been cool as an athlete to like learn a lot more about how to fuel my body for long runs. Athletic Brewing to keep me from drinking too much beer after training sessions. Fake beer is delicious too. And Craft Sportswear for outfitting me in gear.
The Super Sapiens is pretty interesting. I've been looking at them. They have a sensor that you basically wear on your arm, and it's connected to an app on your phone. Is that right?
Yeah. And a lot of people who are diabetics wear sensors like this. But I guess Super Sapiens specifically it's delving into how they can use this kind of like glucose data to increase performance in athletes specifically. So they work with all kinds of Olympians and athletes around the globe. And it's really cool to like, I don't know, get their encouragement and stuff. Like sometimes after a race, they'll put up a post congratulating Ryan and I, and then the next one will be like about some, Olympic athlete who's like won a gold medal and they're, and I'm just like, wow, it's cool to be like associated back to back with these incredible athletes that I think we're their only obstacle racing athletes and they really like us. So yeah, it's really super cool and makes me feel humbled.
Lindsay, how can people follow you on social media?
I mostly only use Instagram now. Actually, I very rarely go on Facebook anymore. But on Instagram, I'm Lindsay Dawn Webster.
Lindsay Webster, thanks much.
Yeah, thanks, Will. It's always a pleasure.
Special thanks to Lindsay Webster for appearing on this episode. Well done, Lindsay. Come back anytime. Got that World Champion season pass. Golden ticket, you know what I mean. So is Lindsay retiring? I don't know. You just heard what she said. What do you think? Shoot me a text, 619-485-2726. I will talk with you soon. Go spend time with someone you love.